Good afternoon from Yummy BTV. Wishing you all well. Sending loads of love to you all as usual now. John, you just asked me a question about what's the worstest prison in the country right now, right? And we knew I did the category A ones. Long Lartin was the worstest category A that I'd ever seen. I thought Whitemore was a little bit easier, right? Now, the worstest jail in the country right now isn't a category A, right? It's a C cat and it's called High Point, and they nicknamed it Knife Point from the 80s. So the stigma is quite there in the title. I'll leave it to your imagination by nicknaming it Knife Point, because obviously it's got a history of nothing but slashings, cuttings, stabbings, and blah, 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 blah. Best way to describe it, yeah? Now, when I finished through the Cat A's, served all the 12, 13 years, then I got out, you remember the recall, and then I got an 8 on top, so it was shortly afterwards. By this time, I'm very broken, you know what I mean? It was one sentence too many. I was all alone, and I was sad. It was like, how can I explain it? To how I felt during the category A's is the first time in life now where I felt moments of weakness, right? From getting there. So from a London jail, I'm gone to High Point. Gone on the induction wing now. High Point, with all the knowledge and history that I got of it, I was still thinking, whoa, it's the jungle. At least I'll be able to pass the time by getting stuff and that kind of thing. More chances of gym in the Sea Cats gymnasium and that kind and everything like that. Plus, it'd be a new dawn for me where I wouldn't be too worried. Yeah, I was thinking it's a step down from the Cat A's, because I was on red alert in the Cat A's. I was thinking now, no, I've done the Cat A's, so this is something that I should be able to manage easy. My days, boy. I got on the induction wing, which is the wing where you get settled into before they allocate you which wing you're gonna go on, yeah? Next door, there's another prison. They used to call it Edmonds Hill. It was a lower category prison. A lot of men used to like going there and getting their D-cats and open. It was a goody-goody jail, right? But by the time I got to High Point, it had changed to High Point North. So the induction wing that I was on was High Point South. Now, High Point North was meant to be the goody-goody prison, right? You can literally handcuff, walk with the screws across the road over to there. The goody-goody side of High Point. So a lot of people wanted to go out there to get out of the mix. A lot of things that happened on the south side, the bad side, right? A lot of things happen to men on the south side, and it's like going over there for, you know, peace and quiet, and not because you've been attacked on that wing or that south side. You get a bit more safety up there, but it's too close to comfort. You're never safe. You're never safe with places like that anyway. So I'm on the induction wing. They come to me, they said, listen, Yami, you can go over that High Point North, the good side, because your age and blah, 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 right? So I thought it was the right result. So I went over there, I was running about for a few months, and then one day, as usual, I was kind of cool over there, but it's lonely, but it's a different kind of time. I was really in a bad place. I had no one and nothing. It was deep for me, man. I was hurt by that 8 straight after that one, man. I've explained that to you now. I got moved off, as usual, in those jails. Anyone can put notes in the box about you. It wasn't even me. They said, you've got a packet kit, Yami. You're going over to the south side. So now I'm getting excited now. I'm thinking, boy, the jungle. All I kept hearing on the north side is when you go over the south side, Yami, it's going to be thing. And I was thinking, yeah, I've seen it all before though, right? So I go back over there. They put me on induction. They said, now listen, now High Point, the induction wing's here. Across there is house block 3, I think, where I ended up going. That's the Bronx. That's meant to be, they got the stigma there. The house block 3 is the worstest wing in the whole prison, right? So now they're saying to me, did they say house block? I'm sure they just told me house block. Where would you want to go? And I asked, the reason why I asked to go on the Bronx, right? Because I knew everything was happening over there. And one day there was a geezer, I thought me and him was kind of cool. And I thought, at least someone's over there that from back in the day. When I go over there, he's kind of weird. I was thinking, And he underestimated me as well in the end. I know, well, I had to shut him down in the end, right? He was cool at first, right? But I felt very much alone because all the kids are there. Remember, I don't know nobody because it's a different clientele to what I was used to. So when I got over there, I was still carrying a weapon and you know what I mean? I was more quieter than I ever was in history, my prison history. A couple of the kids were looking after me. A couple of them talked too funny at first. I wasn't saying anything. I was going, boy, they run off their mouths like that now, the kids. All different gangs. No joking about. The induction wing faces that way. When people are coming past with their kits and everything, all of them are on the Bronx are spying. They're from South London, East London, North London, West. They said, yeah, they're coming. Look, that group, they all got beef, all the postcode things. So they can see them coming and spy so that when they can all go charging out and run him and do all the cutting and do the gang-related violent stuff. Madness. 8 men on 1 man and all that kind of stuff. Unheard of, really, in the Cat A's. Apart from them, you know, the latter Cat A days when the gang things came to Cat A's late in life, if you get what I mean. Loads of weapons, homemade weapons, right? The bullying and the violating that I saw, the picking on, the vulnerable ones, right? Addicts that don't pay. And they used to get them, when the 2 addicts can't pay their debts, they used to get them into the toilet, get them to fight, get them to smoke a little bit of spice as well. So they were wonking and a big crowd in the toilets. On that wing, there was the screws office is outside the gate, right? So now and again, they might come and have a look at bang up time, but really, there's no screws on the wing. So everybody's running about. There's a lot of play fighting with the kids wrestling with each other and all that. Mayhem, right? So they used to get them to fight in the recess. And I was thinking, liberties, boy. The vulnerable ones, and film it while they're on the floor and kick them all, both of them, and you pay next time and that. They even got this spray thing on Spice, right? I don't know what they sprayed on it, but they got 2 more other people to smoke it and all blood was coming out their nose and their ears, right? And they were videoing that and put it up on social media. Everybody looked like zombied out and they're rolling around the floor and they think it's funny by putting it up there. Unheard of from the grown men from the past, the old gangsters and all that. Different change. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like they're going on people downstairs and bully them like, hold my phone, man, and think like, yeah, I'll do that. And do you make anything happen to picking on, absolute violation and bullying for certain kids that are going there. If you're unfortunate, right? You go there and you think you want to be part of something, but you don't really know some of these kids the way that I do, right? And the way that how they move about. You might want to buy a phone and that. They'll just come in there and wrap you up and take it categorically, right? So all things, all right, we've seen the robbing in the past and so forth, but this is happening day in and day out. When there's violence on the exercise yard, when they come out, the prison officers don't join in straight away. They only pick up the pieces when it's nearly finished, right? So there's not much protection, right? Imagine now, when you got, because there's one wing, which is the super enhanced wing, right? Where it's all modern and done up like a new set of apartments where the real goody goodies that get to go. The ones with not much previous, the ones that are finishing off, the ones that have been behaving for yonks and they get their sentence plan and they get over there. You're limited you won't get in no trouble over there, right? One house block, which is probably in all prisons, there's always a goody house block. So you go on there, because anyone that gets into a fight over there, you're thrown off straight away, right? So you get little perks more than the other house blocks. Now the walkway in High Point, I told you in other stories, I used to have to walk backwards and forwards, like every morning I used to come out, both when I had problems, right? Because remember I told you, everyone from the past. Because remember, it's a whole new, there's not many faces at all from way back in the day. So when I was looking about thinking, what's his name? What about him? And no one was there. I was all alone with all the kids and a few other people that I haven't really seen before. And there's me thinking that I knew everybody. So I used to have to walk backwards day and night for about 3 months at one stage, because I'm thinking they put the hit out on me, that I got to be ready at all times. I was moving paranoid bad, but I had to, right? So then I go to education. They'd be smoking spice in the toilets and that. People getting draped up in there in the toilets and slapped up and all that. So this one big guy was troubling this little guy, making him cry. I just looked at him one day. I said, what's up with you? He went, yeah, Uncle Yummy, man. I said, what do you mean, like? You know what I mean? He was absolutely massive, but an absolute bully. I think unless he was trying to impress me and grabbing people up in front of me just to see. I thought he wanted to see that reaction out of me, but I just looked at him. I said, behave yourself, young boy. You know, but something happened there, right, where I had to go back to back in the day. I had to. And because at first, the young kids were talking to me funny at first. I wasn't saying anything. I was going, okay, yeah. They're cheeky. They don't care whether you use an old-time gangster or not these days. They start running off their mouth with you. Hey, yes. I left a few things. And then one day, I switched. I said, all right. Because they're always fighting with each other. And then I started to get affiliated to a couple of sides as well. And I was thinking, nah, I swear, if anything happens to my little young one, you know, I'm going to have my favourites. But I kept quiet for about a year. You know what I mean? I weren't really, it was a different, you know what I mean? It was the weakest I've ever been in reality. But I still had my things, and I was thinking. And then I went and done something mad, right? With a tool. Not too much damage, but it looks worse than what it was. And like I said, the screws, they don't come and break, they come running right at the end. There was about 9 people fighting, all each other getting cut. And I thought I saw a cut. I said, no. And I went in and done it. But when it was running towards me, right, the bells were going and everything. I was going backwards, and I floated into the crowd and disappeared. So all the kids witnessed that. It was like they was going, oh, that Uncle Yummy fucking, they like all this, what they like. You can't go into them places and say, "Oh, listen, boys, don't do violence." It's not going. They're not listening to you. I could do that now and let you know what those certain jails are like. Frightening, right? Go down the gym. Madness. They don't care, the staff. Then all these things with the drones coming in, flying past, yeah, drop this one, people running on the yard, tennis balls come, everything. I couldn't believe it. And the screws were on the yard, and then someone break covers there, yeah, stop him from going. No control. And they're not caring. They don't care. All they know is watch who's got it, boom, call him, go and get you later on. All these things that went around in the category A's, like drones and things, I was seeing it all in these jails, right? And the addiction things for people was really sad to witness. You know what I mean? Like I said to you, they were picking cells to go to, but blatantly violating people. Like in the old-time gangsters, you wouldn't be able to bully people like that, weaker people. You know what I mean? If anything, those guys in the Cat A's, when there's a weaker one who can't pay the street, they say, all right, we'll give you another week. You know what I mean? You get more. So in fact, High Point was worse as jail. What did they do? You get stabbed over there. It goes, yeah, all right, you go on that wing over there. Like, that's going to save you. Because if you have to go work at that, you could bump into everyone again. So there's no protection. You don't get shipped out and moved out of the prison when you get really hurt. The only time that happens is if you get probably severely hurt, right? Or you ask to run off. I had a problem with the governor there as well, near the end bit of it. But when I'd done those 2 moves, it was amazing. When I was walking back, like, then I started floating over to other wings and all that. And then it felt like I was Yummy from back in the day in the Cat A's. That's the level I had to reach that at that time, because the pressure was on me about like being vulnerable, like I was going to have liberties taken with me and all that kind of stuff. That I remembered one night when I was lying there and I had to find it to do that nutty thing again. But I'm telling you, don't ever go there. If you want an easy time and that kind of stuff, it's hard to get moves from there as well. It's like a dumping CCAT ground, prison as well, where if you wanted to get a DCAT or another CCAT walker or better thing than that, it'd be thing. It takes long. The staff take long about, you know, your sentence plan thing. Oh, you got to do this course and then you can get that bit. And then you get one little write-up in the book and then it stops your move. And your name can get called in them places, regular. The other, all the way round to that way, to that way. The only good, if it was how it was back in the day, you could do a hit anywhere there. You can run down that, because there's not many staff in the middle of when the walkways on the outside. When you're walking down them, there's one at the gate and one down the other gate. So anything that happens in that 500, 600 meters or half a mile or whatever till you get to your workplace, anything can happen. You could look, get into the crowd, it's a deadly place. So I say to you, IVE Part 1, one of the worst jails that I've ever been in.